Welcome back, my friends. My name is Eric. This is Mellowseven Gaming. For now. And we're back. The purpose of this one is just to talk about some rebranding that's going on. So in the past, I have used the Mellowseven kind of brand with the Bomber Baron. That brand, that logo comes out of family history. My grandfather was a bomber pilot. World War II, Korea, Vietnam. World War II, he served with the Jungle Air Force. He was a bomber baron. This was kind of their unit mascot, I guess. You know, not the official patch, but this is kind of what they referred to themselves as. And the Mellowseven name comes back. It was his plane number when he was in Strategic Air Command. I asked him one time if bomber pilots. Speaking of which, I don't know if you'll hear it or not, but we've got the California Air Show going on next door. And I've got the F-35s doing low altitude flybys over the house. So you may hear some rumbling in the background. I suppose it's appropriate for today's topic. Apologize if it messes anything up. They're going to be flying all day, so there's no way really around it. Anyway, I asked him once if bomber pilots got cool call signs, you know, like the bomber pilots do, or like the fighter pilots do, you know, Maverick and Goose and all that sort. And he says, no, their call sign was based on the plane. And so the squadron or flight would have an overall call sign, and then the plane would have a number. And the one he could remember at the time was Mellowseven, which I believe was when he was in SAC. And so that's where it didn't become because I was the seventh person to try to use Mellow in World of Warcraft. It became because he was the seventh plane in the Mellow Squadron, I guess. So those were those come from. Now, the problem is there's no way to copyright or really monetize with any sort of way the Bomber Baron logo because this logo was designed for a government unit, and therefore it's not copyrightable. It's not mine. I didn't come up with it. I didn't design it. And because it is a military unit, it's not copyrightable. You know, nothing that's done essentially on the government dime as far as design like this is copyrightable. It's why you can easily use, like, say, launch patches within for units. You know, Battletech, when I did my Battletech mod for unit logos, we converted a bunch of the various space launch patches for that. Same idea. They can't copyright them, so there's no way to protect them. That's great in that it allowed me to use this the whole time, but it's going forward, if I want to make and sell t-shirts or hats or anything like that, while I could get away with it, there's nothing stopping anybody else from doing exactly the same thing, and kind of there's no way to protect the brand, so to speak, right? So this is you know, kind of an example of some of the branding I've used in the past. I spent a lot of time converting their logo essentially into my own version of what I wanted, but this is it. What we're going to is this. So again, logo ties back to own personal history. As far as the word roam, I've lived in 9 states within the US. I've lived on both coasts, north, south, center. I've lived in 3 countries. 3 continents for that matter, Europe, North America, and Australia. So I have roamed a bit. I mean, even in California, I've lived in Riverside, Santa Barbara, San Luis Obispo, Morro Bay, and now Salinas. So that's 5 cities even within that one state. So I've been around a touch. However, in this case, Rome kind of has double meaning, right? Most of us probably have heard the old song, you know, Home on the Range. You know, give me a home where the buffalo roam and the deer and the antelope play. Well, I grew up in Miles City, Montana. Miles City is famous for a number of things. The first is the JC's bucking horse sale. If you've ever seen a bucking bronc at a rodeo, the odds are extremely high that horse was purchased at the JC's bucking horse sale in Miles City. The second is we're the perfect spot for everybody in the Northwest to park their truck and trailer and pretend they rode their motorcycle to Sturgis. Very, very important. We also have some of the best alfalfa grazing on the planet, so extremely attractive to ranchers. If you've ever seen kind of the legendary, you know, Western miniseries Lonesome Dove, that's the entire plot, right? They were Texas ranchers that were moving to Miles City for the grazing. So pretty useful there. That grazing also happened to bring the bison herds, and Miles City was the home of the last major wild bison herd in North America, which for better or for worse gave Miles City its first population boom of buffalo hunters. So the bison ties me back to home, right? Everybody who grew up in Miles City, the bison, the buffalo is a part of their personal identity because of the history, the natural history of the area. And obviously the Rome ties in well with that. So a few little meetings in there. I've been kind of sort of thinking about this, working on this off and on a little while. My original idea was a little bison riding on top of like a little moon or planet, scooting along. I have a few sketches of it somewhere. But I was never happy with kind of the artwork I based off of that sketch. As a pencil sketch, it was great. As something that was easily scalable and recognizable, large, small, blurred, partially obscured, it didn't work as well. So we've gone back to just more of a pure kind of bison look. Now the term Rome, the name Rome, is used by a few companies. I did some Google searches, I did some YouTube searches. I don't think anybody else is using it for this type of thing. I don't think it's going to be called Rome Gaming, like Mellowseven Gaming. I think we'll just refer to as Rome. If I decide to incorporate SSD, business it up, it'll probably be something like Rome Creative, because I also do a fair amount of CNC design work, some carpentry, some metalworking, that sort of stuff. And so it would use dual purpose, right? I could use it for both companies in slightly different ways. It'd be one company with a few different things underneath that Rome umbrella. So I think probably Rome Creative or Rome Creations, something along those words. I originally I was looking at doing something, like Rome Creations, and maybe or Rome Crafting, I think was what I was originally thinking. I originally started thinking about this for the other side of kind of what I do. So we'll take crafting out, but if we can come up with something else in there, creations, creative, something along those lines, maybe that'd be the official, company name. But we'll just refer to it as Rome, generally speaking. This does also give us some great puns. Welcome Rome. Rome wasn't built in a day. I'm sure there's a few more. Let me know down below if you can get me some good puns that we can work this in. There's another channel, and I cannot for the life of me think of what it is. Mortissimo. Yeah. He ends with, and this is what got me kind of thinking we're the Rome. He ends his videos with, "May you wander in wisdom," right? So I originally was looking at Wander, but there's WanderBot, there's him with Wander in Wisdom. There's a few others within the gaming space that use kind of that term. So that's kind of what led us to Rome. I kept wanting to say morphologist, but morphologist is, I don't know. I know him from playing Space Engineers with XPG with Captain Shack, but he's also a big Star Citizen channel as well. Anyway, I don't know why. I guess they both begin with M. They're both big words. In my head, they get crossed. But anyway, so this is what we're looking at. So this is kind of some of the basic ideas. This needs to, at least within the slide, just kind of center that a little bit with the artboard. It the logo doesn't care. The logo doesn't have a backdrop. It's just the buffalo, the line, and the word. There's nothing else there. There's no background color. It can kind of go on whatever, which is the idea. Now, obviously, when designing a logo, colors, like what are you going to use that for? I wanted to keep it down to 2 or 3 colors. I chose 2. So the bison and the letters are one color, and then the horn and the lines or circles are the second color. So 2 colors should make it reasonably easy to print t-shirts, hats, whatever, without getting too complicated. You want a few different versions of a logo that you can use across different kind of spaces. But they all need to be recognizable as the same. So colors need to be the same. The bison obviously is across all of them. We can use something like this for the YouTube watermark in the bottom right corner, or even something like this. I do really like square designs for whatever reason. I did a fair amount of logo design with a previous job as part of Monterey County Department of Education. I ran the makerspace there. And because I was one of the few kind of, because I had the software, because of what we did, digital design, and manufacture, right? That's what I taught that primarily to middle schoolers. The digital design stuff and a little bit of a bent to it. I got asked to design logos for all sorts of educational events. And I like Square. I can't help it. I think Square looks great. But I gave myself a little circle one again, things like the YouTube logo at the bottom. I think generally I run that as in a circle, stuff like that. And then obviously I got to think about other longer format types of deals, the tops of a letterhead, or on the YouTube page, like the homepage for the channel, something a little longer. So these are kind of the three I've come up with initially. We might change that somewhat, but I think they look good. I could do like a leather patch with this cut out. I mean, there's a lot of different ways we can do this. So look to see this start to show up on the channel more or less now. It might not all happen instantly. It might be, one thing gets updated at a time. I got to get everything formatted properly. I don't have any of the other socials kind of in there like I do here with my Twitch TV, which I'm almost never on anyway, so it may not matter. I do still have my Twitter account. I don't remember. We'll have to look and see. Mellowseven's not going anywhere. Like as far as my username, it's still my username and everything. So that'll be fine. And my Instagram, which is mostly used for the crafting creative sides of things, much less for gaming. But I do put pictures of things that I'm working on in the garage on there. So if you're interested, that's that. There may at some point be a second channel just for that stuff. In fact, if I cared about having a big channel, that would be what I focused on, because that's that space has much more opportunity for growth than gaming does. But anyway, so I need to do something more along these lines to do with this. I mean, I can potentially just put those logos down here or do something, along the side or something, but I haven't quite figured that out. So look for that stuff to come up. I'll still be Mellowseven pretty much everywhere within games. I'm still Mellowseven on Steam. So yeah, the username's not going anywhere. Just the channel name will change. So I guess that's it. If you got questions, comments, ideas, let me know down below. I'd love to hear them. Got some more puns for me? I'd love to hear that. And we'll be back next time. Thanks for watching. Cheers.